Okay, we have no idea what's going on because Prism done changed the rules overnight, and it's telling me that the chat will start. Well, it should start. Alright, live chat is turned on. And no longer broadcasting on two platforms unless I want to pay. So, oh, the chat is working. Oh, goddamn, print is so small, I'm gonna go blind. Kathy's here. Mrs. Metcalf's here. Yeah, it's working. Yeah, it said the chat will start once YouTube starts. I was waiting to see what the hell's gonna happen here. Something I've been waiting to say for a long time, broadcasting live from Studio 1, WDWL TV presents, the Grumpy Old Man. Me. And we're live from Studio 1. Been a long time since we've been over here. Oh, man. Yes, studio. The WDWL TV studios are located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. And my studios are located on Grumpy Old Man Road. You see who gets the bigger billing. Look at the fucking size of that sign versus mine. Well, I wish I could make the print larger on this. Yeah, I discovered something today. I can no longer broadcast on two platforms unless I pay. So I have to figure out, I think what I'm just going to do is outright shit can Prism altogether, delete it out of here, and since I can only operate on one platform, I'll just operate strictly on YouTube, and I shouldn't have all the problems that I've been having. Ron's here, and I think Linda's here. I can't see the damn print. Oh, man. That's enough to kill me. Can I make it larger? Hang on. Let's see. What is this? Can I make it larger? No. I cannot make the print larger. Oh well. It's really hard on the eyes. Whoa, got to take the granddaughter to the hospital. I hope it's nothing serious. was like Friday night. EMS went down the street, and I wasn't paying attention. I didn't look out the window, only to find out the EMS was here for Timmy. You know, Timmy, my old next door neighbor's son. Well, Timmy's walking around with double pneumonia. And it got so bad that they had to call a freaking EMS to take him to the hospital. The one time I don't pay any attention to EMS, so I haven't heard from him. I've been trying not to bother him. And then we got a goddamn cloud burst. It started about 15 minutes ago, and my goddamn basement's flooding. So I had to run down and disconnect the hot water tank because I don't want to blow out another brain like happened twice. Never a goddamn dull moment, man. The water was coming in very slow. So I'm hoping it doesn't get deep. But I unplugged all the wiring off the brain on the hot water tank so it won't short out. I hope the water don't get that fucking deep. I'm looking. Is Linda here or no? I don't see Linda in the chat. Evidently, Linda's not here. Ron's here. Mrs. Metcalf's here. Kathy is leaving. Yeah, drive safe, Kathy, if you're still here. Hope it's nothing serious. Okay, Ron, no Linda. Okay, I didn't think so. I can't adjust the font on the chat, and it's so goddamn tiny. I'm going blind trying to read it. It kind of explains why I don't have my accessories, you know, my clock and what else did I have up there? The sound wave. That's on Prism Plus. Matter of fact, if I want to operate on two platforms, I have to go on Prism Plus. I'm not paying. I'll just delete it. You know, I started out strictly on YouTube, and you know, everybody else on YouTube, not every person that's streaming is using alternate software, so I should be able to go back to YouTube with no problem. I thought you were leaving to go to the hospital, Kathy. Okay, you'll keep us updated. All right. Now, don't be chatting and driving unless you have voice chat. Yeah, like my friends, they use that talk to text. I think I got that on my phone. I've got my stylus. I don't send 47 paragraph text messages like some of my friends do. Jeez. The other day I went to open up a text that was 7 miles long. I was like, gee, come up for air. Boy, yesterday, I get everything all set up over here. I did a couple of sound checks with the other microphones because I was using the soundboard. Now, the way that the soundboard operates is the mics and the accessories plug into the soundboard. Then the soundboard plugs into an interface. The interface plugs into the computer. You can't plug a soundboard directly into the computer because I've got old soundboards. Well, I do a couple of tests. Everything is fine. I go to start the show and I look over and the damn interface quit. This is an interface. What happens is you come out of the soundboard, you plug into the interface, and the interface goes into the computer. This is my Lexicon Lambda, better known as Lexicon Piece of Shit, because it died. Because what this does is it provides the 48 volts for the microphones. So I had to scramble and go back to USB. So no soundboard. I don't even know if I'm going to screw with it. I might just stick with the USB microphones. They're a lot easier. Although I have more XLR microphones. But just as I was getting ready, it was like 6:58. And I looked over and I'm like, how come that blue lights aren't on? And how come the lights registering the sound out of the microphone aren't on? And I'm checking connections. Interface died. So, because I've got everything over in Studio 2 all disassembled. So, had I not, I have a bad habit. I take everything apart at once. Had I not taken shit apart over there, I could have run over to Studio 2 and done, come on a little later. But no, I haven't. Because I'm rearranging the microphones and the monitor and that. So I had everything all freaking unplugged. So that's The last couple of days, then tonight, good thing I looked downstairs. I looked down, it looks like water. So I ran down real quick and unplugged the brain off the hot water tank because that's $300 that I can't afford. Goddamn sewers in this goddamn neighborhood. Over 70 goddamn years, and we're still getting water. It's that's aggravating. You would think in 70 years this goddamn city would upgrade the sewers, although they were going to, and then everybody in the neighborhood throw a bitch fit. Oh, we're going to have to park our cars up the street? Oh, no. I'm not walking up the street. And everybody in the goddamn neighborhood bitched. So the city canceled the project. They did the sewers over on the east side. Now, everybody in this neighborhood is getting water in their basement. Tomorrow, everyone will be out bitching. Jesus Christ, goddamn basement flooded. Well, if you wouldn't have bitched about having the street torn up for a couple of weeks, we'd have had new sewers in this neighborhood. But because people couldn't park their car right outside their, driveway door, I'm going to have to... There's got to be a way of making that goddamn font larger in that chat. There's got to be a way. I'll have to investigate tomorrow because I'm going to need a magnifying glass. Christ, talk about tiny. Jesus. Yeah, Ron, Studio One is old school. I like it better myself. I have probably 50 more signs if I had room to put them up. I've got all kinds of gas signs. Oh yeah, this is old school. I love this studio. I really do. What's in the way blocking that? Why is that? Oh, there's a microphone in the way. There, gas, 26 cents. Matter of fact, that's what the price of gas was when I started driving. Yeah, I have to do some measuring because I would love to put more gas signs up. Not to mention the hotline that goes direct to the CEO's office. Yeah, this is the studio that, well, I didn't have all these signs. It was just basically a plain black background. And then when I started buying all those backgrounds, it was easier to put them up in Studio 2 because I'd had to take all this shit down. And I'm like, oh no. If the camera would swivel over here, but I got 2, 4, 6, I got 6 gas signs over here on the wall. I'll probably screw the camera up. Let me see if I can swivel it. There, we have Flying A, Husky, Red Crown, Rooster Gas, Standard Oil, and Ace High. Come on, camera, get back over here. There we go. You have to figure out how I can put more signs up. Matter of fact, this one was okay. This one, Grumpy Old Man Lives Here. That was a gift from Mary Ann. She saw it on some website somewhere. And then the Grumpy Vulture Boulevard, that was either a Father's Day gift or a Christmas gift for my son. And then I found this on eBay. So we have Grumpy Vulture Boulevard and Grumpy Old Man Road. And then S&H Green Stamps. S&H Green Stamps. And Sinclair Gas. I never heard of Signal or Polygas or Sunset. But oh, I've got a shitload of. Maybe what I'll do is rotate them. Actually, the jackalope was right here. That's why there's an empty space here. The jackalope was right here. I took him down to move him on the other side, so he's coming back. I'm trying to. Oh, my sign that says I seized the wrong day. Yeah, that's me. And my original live on the air. Now, this sign changes colors, but the camera don't pick it up. Because right now, it's changing colors. It constantly changes colors. But the camera won't pick it up for some reason. I don't know why. And I'm using the same Logitech camera that I've got over in Studio 2. I have identical Logitech cameras. I really like the autofocus is so much better on these Logitechs. Which sign, Ron? I seized the wrong day? Yeah. I seized the wrong day. Matter of fact, 90% of these signs in here I got off of Temu. The round ones were like $2.50 a piece. The S&H Green Stamp and the Sinclair, these are $3. The public phone, this one was $3. The regular gas here, that was $4. But yeah, I got a shitload of signs. What I gotta do is rotate them. I think every week I'll change them and rotate them so everybody can see all the signs. Oh, the live on air. I'm trying to think where I bought that from. I think I got it off of eBay. Yeah, I got it off of eBay. It was like $14. But it feels good to be over here. It really does. Mainly because I did almost 3 years over here. No, 2 years, because it was a year up the street. Then I moved down here, and I did 2 years over here, and then I got into the USB microphones and started using them over. No, I have a ceiling fan, and I also have a small fan down on the floor blowing up my ass because this room is stuffy. Yeah, I really wanted to use the soundboard because I can plug all three of the tablets into the soundboard, and then I could have all my sound effects. But I'm not. I am not going to buy another interface right now. I dug out my Yeti X microphone, USB, plugged right in. So actually, I should take the soundboard out. I could use the room. Believe me, the soundboard takes up so much space over here. I could use the room. But I mainly wanted to get back on the air because if I'm not on the air on a regular basis, subscribers start bailing like rats off a sinking ship. I didn't even look. I don't know. Are we still at 109 or? It's not. It's not been a good 5 6 days around here lately. So, and then to find out, goddamn Prism wants money. All right, we're still at 109. All right, we didn't lose any more, but that's all right. I'm not monetized anyway, so. But it's sad when people bail. They're like, "Oh, the asshole ain't on again tonight. Unsubscribe." That's all right. It keeps the family small here. Like I say, I look at this like we're all sitting around the kitchen table with a cup of coffee. know, digging through stuff, looking for items, I found my one studio light, and then I've got the big one over there. I'll show you the big one tomorrow. That's the one that it came out of a professional photography studio. It's got the barn doors on it, but it's too bright. Oh, yeah. Let me try something here. Yeah, the overhead lights. They still work. As a matter of fact, this overhead light I got probably 15 years ago from Habitat for Humanity. And I couldn't figure out what to do with it. And I was like, gee, I'll hang it overhead, just like a studio, because in a TV studio, all the lights are, overhead. The thing you really can't tell too much is there's green bulbs in it. You can see the green on my shoulder here, because the white ones were way too bright. So I put green ones in, and it dimmed it down. The camera is still... Come on. There. Now we got the wall signs. And you can actually see, all right, we got two Sinclairs over there, and then I seized the wrong day in my public telephone. I think if I do some measuring, I could probably compact the signs a little tighter and bring in more. Oh, now I'm losing my grumpy vulture sign. You get the full view. Matter of fact, let me shut this thing off. My lava lamp. I wonder if it's plugged in. Let me see if it's plugged in. If it's plugged in, I'll turn it on. Where's the switch? It'll take a while to warm up. Yeah, my lava lamp. I'll have to bring... I've got one in the bedroom. It's a little larger than this. And it's orange and brown. It looks like a volcano when it's going. Hey, Linda's here. We're broadcasting from good old Studio One. The studio that kind of got forgotten. Matter of fact, had the interface not burned out yesterday, we'd have had the show from here yesterday. But I was able to get a USB microphone working over here. Kathy had to take her granddaughter to the hospital. She's going to keep us posted, Linda. Hopefully it's nothing serious. I was telling everybody earlier, my buddy's son, Timmy, the one basically I've known since birth. Friday night, EMS come down the street, and I just ignored it. And it was here to pick him up. He's got frickin' double pneumonia. And he's been going to work every day. Jeez. I bet he's lying in that hospital bed going, God damn it, I'm missing work. I never saw a kid that's so dedicated. If he misses a day of work, oh, does it piss him off? Evidently, he didn't think he was that sick. I didn't get the whole story. I don't know if he probably was having trouble breathing. And his girlfriend probably went into a panic. I'll have to text him tomorrow. I've been kind of leaving him alone. Because usually the first couple of days in the hospital, they're poking, prodding, x-ray and CT scanning. I hope he's doing all right. Come on, Jesus. Come on, lighter. Caught it on the corner. Then yesterday, coming back from the store, the fucking brakes let go on the truck. Luckily, being a manual, I could gear it down because I have to go to the grocery store tomorrow, so luckily I can take a bunch of back roads. Never a goddamn dull moment. I'll tell you one thing. Nothing gets your attention faster than when you step on a brake pedal and it goes right to the floor. And you're like, oh! My neighbor has her trash can right outside my window. I always ask them, can you move it down a little bit? Well, I didn't get too much information, but evidently, knowing Timmy, he probably thought it was just a bad cold that he couldn't shake. And then with it being, middle of summer, that's the last thing you think of is pneumonia. But it's, pneumonia sneaks up on you. So I left him alone Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow I'll text him and see how he's doing. Like I say, it was probably about somewhere between 8:15 and 8:30. I heard EMS, and then they usually shut the siren off about half a block before they get to their stop. So the siren went off, and I usually look, and I was like, eh. And then I find out it was for Timmy. So evidently, he must have been to the point where he was having a hell of a time breathing. Either that or he was hacking a lung up. Because I had been driving past the house, and his girlfriend's Chevy Cobalt diesel has been sitting in the driveway. So I sent him a text message. I said, hey, what's with the diesel, And he said, oh, she's been staying here because she's got a house down in Akron. And then he says to me, he said, I took an ambulance ride last night. I said, what? He says, yeah, I got pneumonia. I was like, holy shit. But like I say, he's probably pissed off as hell that he's missing work. Because that kid is dedicated. God, I'm trying to think how old he is. I don't know if he's older or younger than my son. He's got to be somewhere between 36 and 40. And he has been at that dealership since he graduated high school. Because he got the job right out of high school. He works for a Chevy dealer. He's what the hell is he? A porter, new car prep man, gopher, wastebasket emptier. because he gets to work usually somewhere between an hour and 45 minutes before starting time. He hates being late. Very dedicated. Very dedicated. So I'll have to text him in the morning and see how he's doing. But knowing him, he probably just thought he had a bad cold. Because in the summer, around here, pneumonia is like the last thing you would think that you would have. But knowing Timmy, it started out with a cold and he just ignored it, and it got worse. Well, like Timmy said, he likes getting there early because, first of all, he can sit and drink his coffee and he can get his day organized. And that way, when it's starting time, he's got it all figured out. All right, I got to get so many new cars ready and this and that. But very dedicated. He really is. I'm going to have to ask him exactly what his job is. I've never asked him. Like I say, he's been there right out of high school. Matter of fact, I think he graduated. I think they graduated like on a Wednesday. And he went up to the dealer on a Friday, filled out an application, had an interview on right away, and they hired him on the spot, and they said, be here Monday, and he's been there ever since. Good thing he works at a Chevy dealer, because his girlfriend has had more problems with that diesel Cobalt that she's got. He was telling me a couple months ago, cost him like $600 to have converters and exhaust system put on that thing. But she loves that diesel. Oh, jeez. I said, I wish it was a stick. If it was a manual transmission, I'd be begging to buy it. All right, Ron, you make your dinner. I'm going on 6 weeks of salad. I'm starting to feel like a rabbit. Although, I'll tell you what. I love salad. I was going to say I could eat it 7 days a week. I've been eating it 7 days a week for 6 weeks now. I throw everything under the sun in there. Last week I got I got a quarter pound of ham. I got a quarter pound of pickled pimento loaf and a quarter pound of roast beef. Cut it all into thin strips. Threw it in the salad. I've been buying the bags of hearts of romaine. They make a good salad. Last night I threw a shitload of pepperoni in it. I sliced the pepperoni real thin. You could almost see through it. Sliced up a big pile of it. Threw it in the bowl. I got some shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Threw some of that in. Some avocado. Hard-boiled egg. Yeah, six weeks straight. Matter of fact, when I was getting some more bag salad the other day, the little redhead that I kibitz with, she goes, "Aren't you tired of eating salad already?" I said, "No, I'm loving it." She goes, "How long you been eating?" I said, "I'm going on 6 weeks." She was like, "Oh, Jesus." Yeah, you know, Linda, if you get with a dealership where, you know, and I've worked for some dealers when I was managing body shops, and you can either get an owner that treats all his employees like family, or you can get an owner that's an utter asshole. I've worked for both, believe me. And like Timmy said, you know, they treat him right. So, and it only takes him like 15 minutes to get to work. Especially since he moved here. Because when his father passed, he bought the house from his stepmother because she didn't want it, she didn't want it anymore. And his younger brother didn't want it either, so I know he had to pay his stepmother a certain amount. He had to pay his brother a certain amount. But it's, you know, it's the house that he grew up in. So like I told him, I said, you know, with the house being, you know, free and clear, Now he's got something with equity. Rather than, of course, he lived in an apartment for ages. I said, at the end of the year, what do you got? A stack of paid rent receipts. I said, now you got something with some equity. You're a homeowner. And the house really doesn't need anything. He's trying to convince his girlfriend to sell hers. So basically, she stays here a couple days a week. She goes back home. I don't know where she works. I have to find out whether it's closer for her to be here or down in Akron. I don't know where. He told me once before where she worked. I didn't pay much attention. She thinks I'm strange. Yeah, I'll stop over. Timmy and I will be sitting in the kitchen talking, and she just sits there and looks at me, but I can see what she's thinking, like, oh my God, this guy's out of his mind. Because she's a tiny little thing. I don't think she weighs 80 pounds soaking wet. Well, you'll get there, Ron. Sooner or later. Well, I'm going to have to figure out something for this chat. Goddamn print is so freaking small. If I can't enlarge that font, somewhere I've got one of those. It's a notebook-sized magnifying glass. I'll have to hang it over the screen. But at least I have a chat. I was kind of worried. Because the other chat is a Prism chat. And in order to have the chat now, you have to have Prism Plus. I'm not paying for nothing. All these free streaming sites, they let you get used to it. And then they want money. Well, Mrs. M, what if I can't make the font larger? I've got that tough pad that I'm not using right now. I'll put YouTube on that, and then that way I can enlarge the font. Like I said, I wasn't ready for this. Overnight, Prism made a bunch of changes. Because when I logged in, Christ, they had a big notice. So, what I can do is basically shit can Prism. Just delete it and go back to YouTube like I started. And then I could probably read the chat a lot easier if I'm strictly running on YouTube. Because I am not paying for streaming. I don't need it. They say I started on YouTube. Everything was going fine. And then one day I get this notice from YouTube. Oh, you need streaming software. Why? Not everybody that's on YouTube is using streaming software. So I think tomorrow what I'll do is I'll just delete Prism out of all the computers and just go strictly back to YouTube. I don't need to broadcast on 2 and 3 and 4 platforms. If I want to, what I can do is upload it to Facebook. It'll only take me 5 minutes. I can take and open it on YouTube and then hit share it to Facebook. Anybody that wants, to see it on Facebook, fine. Matter of fact, now watch, I'll jinx myself. I put the new hard drive in the computer, and so far, no problems. Because basically there was a notice that Prism and Windows 11 didn't get along. Well, so far everything's working fine. Now watch it, like I say, I just jinxed myself. But if I shit can Prism, I can just run off of YouTube. Like right now, I'm technically running strictly off of YouTube, but it's through Prism. I don't need Prism to run YouTube. And since now they want money, I don't think so. I'm cheap. I didn't even read that far. Because it was saying, you can get, what do they got? Prism Plus, and then Prism, there's 3 different levels. You can have basic, or Prism Plus, or Prism Pro or something. I don't need Prism. Like I say, I'm running YouTube on Prism. Why do I need Prism to run YouTube? So I think there's some deleting in my future tomorrow. All it's doing is taking up goddamn disk space anyway. So tomorrow, all the computers will get a big uninstall. Not to mention, it was a lot easier when I was just strictly using YouTube. So we'll go back to the we're back in the original studio. We'll go back to the original YouTube. Although I really liked using the soundboard with the other microphone because, like I say, I could plug all the tablets in, I could use my sound effects, but hey, no big deal. A lot of people didn't like the sound effects anyway. I did. Nothing like throwing a nice wet fart in every now and then, or a toilet flush, or somebody gagging. That's another thing I have to. God, I haven't. I've got them sound effects on both of those Amazon Fire tablets. I haven't fired them things up in ages. Maybe I should do that tomorrow. Boot up my two Fire tablets and make sure they're still working. Although I'm pretty sure I could plug. Yeah, I could plug the get a Y connector, which I've got. You have to try that tomorrow. Get a Y connector, hook the two Fire tablets together, and plug them into the computer. Yeah, I should be able to do that. Christ, I've got a shitload of sound effects. God damn. I'll have to experiment tomorrow. I think if I hook the two Fire tablets to a Y connector and then plug them into the back of the computer. Sounds like it's going to be a busy day tomorrow in the studio. Uninstalling Prism. Cleaning out computers. Yeah. I should be able to do it with a Y connector. Hook the two tablets together because I'm not going to be using both of them at once for sound effects. So I Y connector them into the computer. Yeah, I think I'll play with that during the day tomorrow. See if I can get it to work. God, I haven't used sound effects in over a year. Easy. I used to use them all the time. I'm trying to think where the wide should be in my box of cables underneath the desk here. I got cables everywhere. Jesus. Although I have a bad habit. Anytime I hook something like hook that new computer up, I buy brand new cables. I don't like using old cables. The problem is I don't throw old cables away. I got more goddamn cables laying around, VGA cables and VGA to HDMI and VGA to DVI. I should just shit can all the old shit, get it over with. I don't need all them old cables anyway. But it was nice dropping that new hard drive in that computer. Booted right up. Well, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that saves goddamn old dinosaur cables. And you know, I have a box under the desk. I have a box in the closet. I have a box in the hallway closet. I don't need all these goddamn cables. And I don't like using old cables anyway. Like I say, when I got that new computer over in Studio 2, before I hooked anything up, I ordered all brand new cables. I get them from that place down in Florida. Gator cable. High quality. Oh, I'll tell you what. I love that place. They're very reasonable. They're high quality. They ship like overnight. If I order, say, by 1 o'clock, it's being shipped out by 4:30 the same day. And if they don't have a certain cable, they'll make it. I can't remember where in Florida. Gator cable. Very high quality. I swear by them. Well, I have to get in the habit. Like right now, I'm getting ready to hook up another computer and another. I've got two monitors side by side here. I haven't got the computer hooked up for this monitor. When I take everything apart, I should just take the cables and throw them in the garbage, because I'm not going to use them again. But no, save them. I probably have easily 20 VGA cables. Most of your new monitors are either HDMI or what the hell's the other one? You got HDMI. Oh, it's that goofy. That goddamn goofy cable. I can't think of what the hell it is. Because you had VGA, then you had DVI, then they went to HDMI, and I can't remember the other cable for your monitor. I can't think of what the hell that goddamn cable is called. Because it's either HDMI or because basically it's got like a little foot on it. It's a straight cable and then it's got a little foot and it locks in. No, not Ethernet. It's a monitor cable. It's not HDMI. It's the other. I can't think of what the hell. God, I can't think of what the hell that goddamn other cable is. Let me take them. See if it says on this computer. Of course, you can't. It doesn't say. Yeah, DisplayPort. I don't have any of those. I do not have any DisplayPort cables. But either you can use, on the new monitors, you can either use the HDMI or you can use a DisplayPort. With my monitors, I just happen to have HDMI cords, so. But yeah, you started out with VGA. That was for years. Then they went with the good old DVI. and then HDMI, and now DisplayPort. Now all my monitors have, as a matter of fact, they've got all three. My monitors have a VGA, they have an HDMI, and they have a DisplayPort on the back. So I use the HDMI. Maybe I'll have to order a DisplayPort cable and try it and see if there's any difference. Because this monitor here is hooked to HDMI. That's going to be an HDMI, that monitor. I've got to get the computer. I got one of the little mini small form factor. As a matter of fact, I've got another stand. I could actually bring in the other small form factor computer and then put a monitor up above. I've got the room. I've got the mount. Brand new under the desk. The echo's kicking in. Well, we went an hour and a half. Can't complain. I don't know why. I think it's something to do with Prism. I really do. I will be so glad the shit canned Prism. Because I never, all the time I was using strictly YouTube, I never had microphones echo. And it seems like after I'm on an hour and a half, I don't know why it does it. So, I will be glad to go back to old school. Shit can Prism. Not to mention, when I was using strictly YouTube, I didn't have half the problems I've been having with communications. Now my lava lamp is starting to lava. You can tell I haven't used it as one big glob. I gotta bring the other one in. It's bigger than this one. And with it being brown and orange, it looks like a volcano. I'm showing my age with my lava lamps. God, I remember back in the 70s, everybody had a lava lamp. Most of my friends had one in every room of the house. Shut it off. God, I thought we'd hear something from Kathy. God, I hope it's not serious. Although So she took her into the ER. You go in and you sit and you sit and you sit and you sit and you sit. No matter how busy ER is, you sit and you sit. There could be two people in the ER. You still sit and sit and sit. See, even with it dark, you can't tell the color changes that sign is doing. I don't know what it is with the cameras that they don't pick it up. And they're not cheap cameras. See, like right now it's multicolored. But you can't see it. That was the neat thing about it when I bought it. I didn't know it changed colors. But I like this one better than that little dinky one I got on the other side, but hey. But yeah, I gotta bring the other lava lamp in. I'll stand it up a little higher so you can see it. I've had this one probably 30 years. I'm surprised it still works. I had a green one. It was really neat. And it fell over. And whatever that lava is inside, it ended up looking like a snow globe. And no matter how long I have that lamp on, the stuff just doesn't congeal back together again. I think I threw it out. And I've yet to be able to find another green one like that one was. Well, Linda, you're a little more serious than the average person coming in to ER. You know, they literally have to turn you inside out to make sure everything's copacetic. You know, the average person coming in, they're coming in, either they got a cut, a cut that needs stitches, or a bad sprain or a break, or like Timmy, pneumonia. Yeah, if I go in through ER, they turn me inside and out, God, I hope it stopped raining. I'm not hearing any rain. I'm kind of afraid to walk down the basement. Hopefully it had just come in about 10 feet, and it was only about an inch deep, but I wasn't taking no chances. I ran over to the other side of the room, unplugged the hot water tank. I hate that everything goddamn computerized. Because the old hot water tanks were easy. No, I've got to stick a computer on them. But, although I'll tell you what, it's a Ream hot water tank, and their customer service is outstanding. Because I no sooner had the tank put in, and then the basement flooded, and it blew out the computer. So I called them up, and they went, no problem, we'll send you another one for free. A month to the day, to the hour, the basement flooded again. Blew out the frickin' computer, the control box. I called Ream, I was like, oh, they went, no problem, we'll send you another one. Now these goddamn things are $300. So, they sent me the second one. 6 weeks later, the basement floods again. I called Ream, I went, oh, you ain't gonna believe this. I said, the basement flooded again. They said, no problem, we'll send you another one. Then they told me, if you get water again, unplug, there's 2 plugs. One has got a red and white wire, and then one has got just a single wire. Unplug all the wires. And if the water comes in, as long as it don't go over the top of the control box, it won't short out. So, when I saw the water coming in, I ran down and unplugged all the wires. Hopefully the water didn't come all the way in, so I can plug everything back in and fire the hot water tank back up. When they installed it, I wanted them to put it on a platform. I said, I'll run up to Homeless Depot and get some cinder blocks, and we'll raise it up. No. Because if I could have got the thing 18 inches off the floor, like my washer and dryer, they're 22 inches off the floor on platforms. So they're safe. The furnace is 18 inches off the floor. It's safe. The hot water tank, not so much. But luckily, I've never had, well, the last flood, the water was 20 inches. And boy, was I sweating it, because it was starting to come up over the platforms for the washer and dryer. Although I remember back in the day when I was growing up, it was nothing to get 4 or 5 foot of water in a basement. I remember the neighbor on the corner, they had water up to the 3rd step. So when you come in the side door at the landing, you step down step 1, step 2, step 3. It was even with the 3rd step. The water was like 18 inches from the ceiling. Well, we used to get nasty floods in this area. Oh, Jesus. Pain in the ass. God, I forgot how hot these headsets get. Hey. I have to find my earbuds. They're over here somewhere. Stick my earbuds in the next time. These are good for, they're like earmuffs, but not in the summer. I'm just looking down the chat to see if Kathy popped in. Not yet. Well, I hope right now they're just sitting, waiting. I hope it's nothing serious. It sucks when you gotta take kids into the hospital. Although I was reading over the weekend, goddamn measles are starting to become an epidemic again. It's all them goddamn younger generation tree huggers. Oh no, we're not doing no what the hell was it? MMR? Measles, mumps, rubella. Oh no! Then you got goddamn Kennedy preaching, oh, no vaccinations. We're starting to go backwards instead of forwards. God, when was the last last time you heard measles? They were saying in the Midwest it's getting to be epidemic stages. I think they said 3 kids have died from measles. You know, all them goddamn diseases we had as kids, they wiped them out. You know, measles, you didn't ever chicken pox. When's the last time you heard somebody get a case of chicken pox? When's the last time you heard somebody getting mumps? You know, all the vaccinations worked. And now we're going backwards. Yeah, I can't remember how many cases they said that they got already. But it's starting to become like epidemic. Man, I can't believe goddamn Kennedy is going, oh, no, don't vaccinate your kids. Oh, let's have an epidemic of fucking measles and mumps and chickenpox again like we had. Alright, you might hear about a case now and then, but not epidemic stages where they're closing schools and that. To readjust them lights. One of them's pointing towards the wall. How the hell did that happen? Guess I have to do some work over here in the studio. I got some rearranging to do here. I think tomorrow I'm just going to end up taking this soundboard out. I could use the room. Takes up so much space. Cigarettes. I think I have some. In the dresser. Although I should have a pack over. Hang on, let me go over to Studio 2. Sounds odd. Let me go over to the other studio. I forgot. You people out in your western states, you know, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Montana, Colorado. It's tarantula mating season. They said you will start to see tarantulas coming up out of the ground looking for mates. So keep your eye out for tarantulas wanting to mate. It was a pretty interesting article. They said basically, if a male tarantula doesn't get lucky, he only has until next year, and if he doesn't get lucky next year, he dies. And if he does get lucky, he has to make sure he doesn't get eaten. Because if a female tarantula hasn't had breakfast, he's going to be the main course. But they were saying all the California, all the western states, it's tarantula mating season. So keep an eye out for your tarantulas running around. And the article said for some reason this year, there will be more tarantulas than there have been like in the last 5 years. So like, you people out there like run out in Nevada, keep your eye out for tarantulas running around. Matter of fact, my buddy's son used to keep tarantulas. He had 5 or 6 of them. Of course, he had to keep them all separate. He had one, it was like an aquamarine blue. It was gorgeous. And then he had one that was like a fiery orange. But the blue one, he used to pick that son of a bitch up and let it crawl up and down his arm. I was like, you're nuts. He goes, oh, I've never gotten bit. Well, I ain't taking no chance. The one day the goddamn thing was on top of his head. I come over to see his father. And I said, where are you guys? They said, oh, we're down the basement. I come around the corner and his son has got a fucking tarantula crawling around on the top of his head. Well, the article just happened to list the states. I don't know how many will be crawling around, but they did say to watch out for tarantulas. That's like, oh God, I can't remember where the hell it is. When the crabs I don't know if it's crab mating season or what. They come out in droves. They show them crossing the road, and they're all smashed and killed with people running them over. All right, Ms. M. Have a good rest of your evening. I haven't been over in Hill Pirate in ages. Maybe I'll go in the search bar on my TV tonight and YouTube and watch them on my big screen. Well, you know what? I think it's about that time. I want to check the basement, see if the water receded so I can get that hot water tank fired back up. Oh, I gotta put a WDWL TV license plate up over here. Oh, Kathy, how's the granddaughter? Before we sign off. Oh, good. You can tell me about it tomorrow night. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm going to go down. Hopefully the water receded and I can get my hot water tank plugged back in and fired up. Take care, everybody.